All right, we are just at the 11 o'clock mark on the Pacific time zone. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started because we have a really exciting call today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Maddie's Fun's Community Conversations. I'm one of your hosts, Sheila Kukan. And I know this week might be a little bit tough because we're coming back from last week was a short week for the Labor Day holiday. So we want to start with an easy question of the day. Would you rather have unlimited coffee or unlimited naps? Let us know in the chat. And I think I would choose naps. Let's see what everyone thinks. And as you're answering, I want to share that we have a big birthday today. My colleague, Allison Gibson, who really handles all the production behind the scenes, is celebrating her birthday today. So join me in wishing Allison a very happy birthday. Thank you,
you. Thank
Allison.
you.
Birthday.
With all my good friends out there in community convo land, love you guys. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being with us on your birthday, Allison. And also thank you to our co-host for September, Janel Griffieth, for joining. Janel will be with me as a co-host for this month, and Janel is a seasoned nonprofit leader with a decade of expertise in community engagement, organizational development, and animal welfare. She has consistently demonstrated her ability to build strategic relationships with businesses, funders, and community organizations, driving impactful outcomes for marginalized populations. Janelle is also a devoted animal foster parent, with her recent foster Leroy going to his new home just yesterday. So yay, Janelle and Leroy. She also serves as a consultant for JVR Strategies, strategic advisor for the Orphan Kitten Club, program leader for the National Association of Asian American Professionals in Tampa Bay, and is a member of the advisory committee for supporting people and animal relationships for change, also known as SPARK. Janelle resides in the Tampa Bay area with her two beloved dogs, Tupac and Riza, and cherishes the memory of her late soul dog, Dre, whose profound impact continues to shape her life. Janelle, thank you so much for being here. I would love to know, with all of your expertise, could you share what community means to you?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Community is such a broad word for me because I'm a person who's into so many different things and I find community anywhere I go. So I think it's just having shared beliefs and being together and having that togetherness to me is community.
I love that. That's beautiful. And I hope we can dive into that a bit more as you join me this month as co-host. So thank you for being here. If you all would like to learn more about Janelle and her story, that she has a beautiful post on the Maddie's Pet Forum thread, which we'll drop into the chat so you can learn more about Janelle. And we also would like to open up for national updates now. So if anyone has any updates, please share them in the chat. And you're also welcome to share those on Maddie's Pet Forum as well. As we get those national updates going, I'll go ahead and hand it over to my colleague, Amber, for our grant giveaways.
Hi, everyone. Happy Monday and happy birthday to Allison, and welcome Janelle for the co-hosting. Okay, so in honor of Allison's birthday, we have a very exciting prize winning today. So we are going to announce a lot of winners. We have our July and our August winners. So here's how this is going to go. We don't have much time. So what I'm going to do is announce the July winners for Community Conversations and Maddie's Pet Forum. If you are on the call as a winner, we'd love for you to unmute and just quickly say hello. If you want to tell us a little bit more about your organization, you can do so in the chat, or you can do so on Maddie's Pet Forum. Then I'm going to announce the August winners, and same thing. You can say hello if you're on the call, but tell us a little bit more about your organization in the chat or in Maddie's Pet Forum. Does that sound good? Okay, rad. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Does everybody see that beautiful slide? Perfect. All right. So we have for our July Community Conversations winners, 4 winners of $2,500. So we have Jeanette from Lifeline Oro Valley Animal Rescue in Arizona. We have Hannah from Spartanburg County Pet Resource Center in South Carolina. We have Ellen from Sweetwater Paws Rescue in Massachusetts. And we have Lee from Planned Parenthood of Georgia in Georgia. All right, and one more July winner. This is our Maddie's Pet Forum monthly giveaway of $3,000. And that lucky winner is Sarah from Paws in the Middle, Georgia Animal Rescue, also in Georgia. Are any of the July winners on the call?
Hi, I'm one of the
Yes,
July
hi.
winners.
Hi, Hannah. Congratulations. Thank you
Hey,
so
thank
much for
you.
joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Rad, give us a little bit about your organization in the chat so we can support you or join us on Maddie's Pet Forum, as we know you have in the past, and tell us a little more. Who else is on the call? I heard someone else, I thought.
Jeanette Anders, she needs a,
Ellen Steiner from Sweet Paws Rescue.
Hi, Ellen. Congratulations. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And Allison, did you say Jeanette
Jeanette
was on?
Anders.
Hey, Jeanette.
Yes, Jeanette Anders with the Lifeline Oro Valley Animal Rescue. Hi. Thank you.
Yes, we look forward to hearing more about your organization in the chat. Anyone else from July on the call? Okay, let's see who we've got for August. So again, there are 4 community conversation winners of $2,500. And we've got Pamela from Grant Parish Animal Care and Control in Louisiana. Deanne from A Forever Home Animal Rescue in Florida. Leilani from Lux Rescue in Georgia. And Christine from Paws and Whiskers Cat Shelter in Ohio. And one more winner for August, and that is the $3,000 Maddie's Pet Forum monthly giveaway. And that is going to Dina from Danbury Animal Welfare Society in Connecticut. Congratulations to all of our August winners. Are any of you on the call?
Hi, Liz Bensman from A Forever Home Animal Rescues here.
Hi, congratulations.
Thank you. We're so excited about this.
Anyone else from August?
Yes, hi, I'm Christine from Paws and Whiskers.
Hi, Christine. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. We love that.
All right. Well, we look forward to hearing more about our winners either in the chat or Maddie's Pet Forum. And my colleague Irene is going to drop the links so you all can have a chance to win a grant from the Community Conversations in the chat here as well. And thank you all for doing this so quickly so we can get on with the rest of our call. And congratulations again.
Congratulations, everybody, for your win. That's really awesome. Thank you, Amber. Also, Amber, I really love your enthusiasm. I think I need more energy like that.
I had coffee and naps all weekend. So I am ready for this week.
Congratulations again, everybody. So today we're going to get into our panel discussion, which is called Brick by Brick, New York City Animal Care Centers built their intake, or how New York City Animal Care Centers built their intake prevention program. I'd like to introduce our panelists, which our first panelist we have is Jillian McMillian. Jillian is a lived experience engagement advisor and board member for My Dog Is My Home. Jillian has lived experience of homelessness and is an advocate for homelessness, animal well-being, and mental health. Jillian has also acquired her certification in cat behavior. Yay, Jillian, and thanks for giving it up for the cats. Sharmila Colquhoun, sorry, is a special case advocate. Sharmila assists with providing guidance and support to pet owners who are facing crisis situations, including homelessness, hospitalization, eviction, natural disaster, incarceration, victims of domestic violence, or just facing financial hardship. The ACC Special Case Unit provides one-on-one counseling, services, information, and case-appropriate resources and advocacy to set clients up for success and prevent any unofficial surrender to the beloved family member. Thank you, Sharmila, for being here. And last but not least, we have Jaime Kruse, who is a senior manager of community resources at the Animal Care Centers of New York City. where he oversees key programs including free vaccine clinics and microchip clinics, a pet food pantry, and advocacy initiatives. A lawyer by training and long committed to social justice, Jaime co-developed ACC's groundbreaking special case advocacy program, the first of its kind in the US, staffed by social workers to help pet owners facing challenges such as housing instability, hospitalization, and domestic violence. Previously a legal policy specialist for the City of New York, he has expanded surrender prevention programming, built strong cross-sector partnerships, and continues to create innovative solutions to keep pets and families together. You guys do a lot. So please join me in welcoming Jillian, Sharmila, and Jaime. I'm going to go ahead and give it away.
Hi, thank you for having us. Thank you to Maddie's Fund for hosting this panel discussion. As a board member and lived experience engagement advisor, yes, it's a very hard thing to say. Lived experience engagement advisor for My Dog Is My Home. The topic of keeping pets and people together during challenging times is a very important topic to me. The team at Animal Care Centers of New York City have been great partners in this work, and I am glad we are able to highlight their program. Sharmila, we'll start with you. Would you like to go first, of course, and tell us more about you and your background and what brought you to this work?
Well, I was born with this gift to take care of animals, and I spent about maybe 25 years of my career in social services. I used to work for 20 years at Department for the Aging. I was a case manager there. So I was able to develop my resource tool to bring to the position that I have now. And also experience with working with the mental health population, I think is the key to success for this job, because most of our owners are suffering some type of mental health condition, and which is impacting their care for themselves as well as their ESA.
Wow. Jaime, and I'll ask you the same questions. What's your background and what brought you to this work?
Well, unofficially, he just decided to wake up from his nap, so I want to introduce Henry.
Hello.
He is our ACC alum from one of our Brooklyn shelters. So in a weird way, actually, he kind of brought me to this. I am not from New York. I just kind of like happenstance ended up here. And as Janelle mentioned earlier, like I'm technically an attorney by trade. And then when COVID hit, I mean, as I'm sure with so many people, you start thinking about what you want to do with your life. And this position at ACC popped up on their social media of looking for somebody who would like to build a program like this. And I was like, this is the perfect timings. And so I figured with my love of animals and having my own success story with ACC and my background in policy and legal work, thought it was a perfect fit. And I'm very glad I made that jump.
That's awesome. Wow, yeah, a lot of things have changed. A lot of minds changed during COVID. You're also well, since you're part of the special case advocate program, how did the program come about? Feel free to provide a little bit of context about Animal Care Centers of New York.
Yeah, so the Animal Care Centers of New York City is New York City's only open admission animal shelter. So we will, first and foremost, we will get and take anything and everything that comes through our doors. And being that we are New York City, with just the insane population of people that live here, come out with their pets, and you start realizing when you're going through all the services, yeah, New York City has a lot of human services available, but nothing for when it comes to pets. And it wasn't until close to COVID time where the housing courts started putting a little more protections in place. And that's where I was working kind of at the time. So really it came to be, I'm very grateful that we have the senior leadership that we have who just like heard my idea of like, what if we started something that helps bridge that gap with pet owners that are facing all these other things. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't necessarily know how to do it quite yet, but let's try it. And that's just kind of how we started. And they embraced it and figured it out as we went. And I think we've built a pretty solid program that I'm really proud of and am excited to see continue to grow.
Sharmila, given your background in training, why do you think it's important to have the experience working in human services?
I think it's most important to be able to relate to others, and I think it's really important to do a lot of hand holding. A lot of my clients are, experiencing all types of crisis, not just mental health, but also a combination of medical and family conflict at home. But I think it's most important is hand holding and being patient with our clients. And they tend to open up after one or two phone calls, sessions with them. They'll tell me exactly, what is going on and learn to trust us that we're going to set them up to succeed and not fail. So I would say, hand holding, being patient, and knowing that every case varies. And, we're willing to help you as long as you're willing to help yourself.
Completely get that. I actually, well, that's mentioned in my bio, I went through homelessness myself, and those are the things that I felt were most important in the whole situation, was being able to have that hand held when I needed it, and not to be judged on my way in the door. And, that's incredibly important. Jaime, how did you go about defining the scope of work for the special case advocates, given the complex overlap between animal and human needs? How do you go about deciding which cases to handle?
Yeah, so as Sharmila mentioned, every case you need to look at every case individually. Sure, the category, if you will, of type of case could be the same, but because every person has their unique background, every case is going to have their unique background. In defining like the scope of the work for the special case advocates, it was really important for us to just at least start with where we saw the biggest disconnect, and Sharmila touched on that, and that was just having an advocate there willing to listen to you and talk to you. Special case or not, when clients come through our doors looking to surrender their pets, it's never a happy moment. It's one of the lowest points in their life. And it was really important that like the staff that we have understand that and be able to communicate effectively with those clients, and build that relationship, have that hand holding. And it was really through the first couple of cases, we primarily focused on evictions because that was the biggest thing facing New York City at the time. And working alongside clients who were facing eviction, working with their housing attorneys if they had one, or if they didn't have one, we got them connected with housing attorneys. And then from there, we just kept building the different types of cases that we could assist with, the different situations an individual client might have. But the background was always the same of like, be that ear, be that hand, just be somebody for them. And I'm sure like so many people on this call can understand, like if you're going through these hard times, somebody passes through so many different departments, so many different people on the same team, but they might not talk to each other. So their story gets lost in translation. So having a program that's just so strongly built upon listening and understanding where the person is coming from is like our biggest building block.
Well said. You want to add anything to that, Sharmila?
I think that's the most important thing is, building these success stories, word getting out about what we do and helping the community, and, having our clients not give up on their self and their animals, ending homelessness for these animals, preventing surrender, and, understanding that it's not going to happen overnight, but we will do our best to assist, even if we provide resources for the animals or resources for the owner to look into for, may get a possible outcome that they may say, okay, I'll go for this. But most of all, we don't want them to give up. We want them to know that we are here to help. And I know New York City's in crisis, but we're doing our best to help all New Yorkers. And they have to be a little patient with us. At this time, we are in critical conditions at ACC, but, we're doing our best to help those who are willing to be patient with us.
Absolutely. Can you share some kinds of special cases that you're handling? What makes them successful?
I recently had, I think it was Thursday, I had a owner that was incarcerated, and a lawyer reached out that the cat was in the apartment, and I worked this case until 8 p.m. that night because I wanted to make sure that this cat was stuck in the apartment for like 2 days, going on 3 days. With the help of the neighbor and the janitor and the security guard, we were able to get the neighbor into the house about 7:30 p.m. into the apartment, and she took the cat into her apartment and is caring for the cat until they can reach the family member. So that was one example of, cases that we can't just say, it'll resolve itself. We could not have done a feed in place or, bring the animal to us because we do need permission to do so. So, but the owner was in agreement for the neighbor to care for the cat, so we decided to take that route. We deal with a lot of hospitalization cases as well. The time frame is most important, and most of those cases are basically, hospitalization for mental health reasons. So in terms of time frame for discharge, it's like a gray area. And we have to work with the medical team, and the key to that is working with the social worker to let us know, what does the client request from ACC at this time. And those can be very difficult cases because a lot of moving pieces, and we try our best to get a history on the animal, but if the owner is not alert and oriented, it's very difficult to put the pieces together. And I'm dealing with a lot of homeless shelter cases where we're helping to apply for the reasonable accommodation ESA process with Department of Homeless Services. So we do help with that on a regular basis. Depending on our capacity right now, we're in critical conditions. So any type of holes for cats or dogs for DHS would have to be approved by Jaime. So because of our critical conditions. Those are some cases that we are helping with. We also help with fire or disaster cases, providing resources as much as we can for what the client needs at that moment.
Just to elaborate a little bit more, to give
Mm-hmm.
a little more overview, I'd say the majority of the cases that we work on are folks who are in the homeless shelter system. And I know it's pretty much blanket across the US, but you know, there is one shelter in all of New York City that you are allowed to have a pet in without it being a registered emotional support animal. So this is where our um, our advocacy and a lot of Sharmila's work, where a lot of that energy is going towards, is working directly with our Department of Homeless Services, connecting those clients to mental health services should they need a letter to make their animal an emotional support animal, walking through that paperwork process, which we all love paperwork. So, like, again, just having somebody there to help you through it. We do, as Sharmila mentioned, we work with directly with hospitals. We actually just recently started a partnership with the New York City public hospital system for direct referrals. And I'd say those are like our biggest two at the moment.
You guys are really doing a thing.
We try. We're trying.
Sharmila, can you talk a bit about the housing challenges your clients face and how emotional support animal designations come into play?
The number one challenges they're having is, you know, when they get registered at the Department of Homeless Services shelter, they have a dog or cat with them and they're told they can't have the dog or cat there. So the dog or cat would eventually end up with us and they would need guidance from us to help them apply for the reasonable accommodation ESA process. Most of these families they have a strong emotional bond with their animal. They're suffering from medical as well as mental health, sometimes physical disability. So I usually, you know, as I said before, providing them a lot of hand holding, non-judgmental, you know, guidance through the whole process is very important. And getting them to get that strong ESA letter, explaining their disability and explaining why they need the dog or cat with them while housed by DHS shelters, most important, because it goes towards a medical review board. And if they're not showing strong clinical evidence why they need the dog or cat by them side, it's not going to get approved. So we try our best to set them up to succeed because their whole life is put into this animal and their whole well-being. And a lot of them, like one gentleman I'm working with now, he lost his mother. His wife took the children and left, and he was living on the street, and now he's in the shelter, and his whole life he put into this dog. And he says he cannot lose the dog because he would lose himself. And, you know, and he's facing a lot of mental health challenges right now. So he's one of my new clients that I've been working with, and that's an example.
Jaime, how does the program reflect your agency's commitment to serving the diverse New York City community? What overarching benefits have you seen for the community?
So one thing that, again, I've just been so proud to be a part of it is, a good example is, you know, unfortunately when the community started seeing lots of threats of mass deportation, ACC immediately jumped in and made policies, made operating procedures to help the rest of the staff, like help guide clients should they get a phone call or somebody walk in saying this is happening or I'm afraid this is happening. The fact that the agency did that like within a couple of days just really highlighted their commitment to really an understanding of all the various needs that our population faces. We have been able to, it was it's as any new program, it could be a little slow start, but the whole agency really has really embraced it. And it honestly, without the help of every single department within our agency, we wouldn't be able to help as many clients as we have been able to, whether that be our shelter population team, our foster and placement team. They've really seen that, you know, behind every human is the pet, and they all have their own individual story. And so long as we can all like keep working together and just keeping that line of communication open, we will do whatever we feasibly can to keep everybody together. And without judgment of your situation, no matter who you are, no matter where you've come from, you're in New York, you're in New York City, we got you. And yeah, I think that's really the biggest thing. It's like, you're here, we'll take care of you.
Wonderful. I think
And
actually I want to ask Sharmila, do you have anything that you needed to add to that?
I wanted to say that a lot of our clients as well have sort of a DV element to their situation. So, you know, we also refer them to URI PALS and to the Red Rover Escape Grant, just to put that out there, so that you're well aware that we do work with domestic violence clients as well. But, you know, maintaining the strong emotional bond the owners have with the animals, I think it's key in understanding that is the key to success, and not giving them the opportunity that they have to choose. No one should be able to choose between their animal and housing. That is not fair.
It's one thing that I say quite often is that people shouldn't have to choose between life and love. It's just,
that's right.
It's terrible. It's wrong. Let's see. I think we can actually, I'm not sure if is it time for us to take questions from the audience?
Yeah, you got a couple more minutes if you wanted to, but we can also jump into questions.
Okay, yeah, I have a couple more questions. Sharmila and Jaime, what advice would you give other organizations thinking about implementing a similar program?
honestly, the biggest thing I would say is, and it's not so much advice, is just do it. You don't need to have a full plan in place. And I'm saying that because that's where I kept getting hung up. I thought like we couldn't build this program because I didn't have a full operating procedure, full idea of how we were going to screen cases, all those little metrics, but we just did it, and those things will come. And I think that's the biggest piece, is just putting yourself out there and saying this is something you want to do. I'd say another big piece of advice is, you know, start conversations with your local human services of any variety, food pantries, homeless services, veterans affairs. Just reach out to them, let them start that introduction, and then slowly, you never know who's going to be on the other end of that email, of that phone call. We got very, very fortunate when we reached out to our homeless services department. The director was so gung-ho. He was like, I've been wanting to do something like this, but had no idea how to do this. So the other person could also want to do it as well, and just needs to know that somebody else is interested. So I think those would be my biggest things. It's like, you don't need a full plan to get started, and then to just slowly reach out to your local services.
How about you, Sharmila? What advice would you give?
You know, just, you know, believing that once you start reaching out to other people and networking, the message will be received, and you'll be surprised that the need is out there. And, you know, when you do try to bring staff on board, you really need someone with resources or have an idea how can they navigate certain situations or certain scenarios, because the tool of having the right resources and letting the client know that we can help you here, but I know of an agency that can help you, and I'm gonna make the referral, and I'm gonna, you know, connect you with them. So they're not giving up hope. You're still giving them hope that their situation is gonna get resolved eventually. So I think that's the message you're sending, you know, a message of hope and that you care, and, you know, they're not gonna get lost in this whole trying to find someone to listen to them. And that's the common thing I'm hearing, that I didn't know what to do. No one was helping me. No one at this agency didn't know what to do. But when I spoke to you guys, you finally answered my questions. So, you know, they need like a home of some place where they can get listened to, the answers to their questions, and they can get referred out if you're unable to help at that moment. It's very important.
And that just reminded me, I would also say it's for other organizations who might be interested in building something like this, is keep in mind that as much as we always want to prevent surrender and always want the pets to stay with the people, sometimes like you will be faced with cases where that's just not feasible. It's just not going to happen. And sometimes the best thing for the person and for the pet in that situation would unfortunately be separation. And that doesn't mean that the case failed. That doesn't mean that we did our job wrong. It just means that that was just the best path for that particular case. And when we've had, I'm thinking of a case like I had last week, a woman who just really, she had an ESA letter. She's had this dog for years and years and years, and was trying everything in her power to make sure that she could reunite with her dog. And just unfortunately, the cards were not in her favor with that. But just me being able to sit on the phone with her and listen to her like talk through her options and be that sounding board, she was able to come to that decision herself. And I think that's a really important thing, is we are not here to tell people what to do and what course of action to take. We're only here to provide them the various avenues that they can take, give them those tools to then go back and internally figure things out, see what makes the most sense. And then by doing that, you know, a big thing that we also hear from clients is just like when they're going through these hardships, their sense of self and their sense of autonomy feels like it's stripped away, because their whole life is now at the hands of whatever agency. And just by allowing a client to still maintain their autonomy and be the ones in control, that in and of itself like is one of the biggest things that you can do for clients and just for people in general. But having them helping them to maintain their sense of autonomy, even if it's not the outcome on paper that you would want, you know, like in those lives, that is the best outcome, and that's still a win. And so, sorry, kind of like my roundabout of advice, but that would be another thing of just don't get discouraged if the results on paper don't look as you want it, but you really have to look at the whole story and whole situation.
Wow, both of you are just absolutely amazing. I wish I knew of your program back when I was going through it. I was going through it during COVID myself.
Oh, yeah.
So the timing, wow, that would have been something. But it's great to have been able to get to know you guys now, and to be able to support your work. And
Thank you.
yeah, thank you so much.
And we love, my dog is my home, so I'm really glad that you were with us today, because we love working alongside you guys. So.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think that's the last question. You want to take audience questions?
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Jaime, I really, really loved that point that you made, that surrendering doesn't mean that's not a success, because it really, really just matters what's best for that person.
Mhm.
And and just on a personal note, I know everybody says I'll do everything to keep my dog. Like I will do, my dog needs blankets. He needs a certain temperature. He's very particular. If something happened to me, I would rather surrender him so he gets comfortable. It's all about him. So we did have a couple of questions. A lot of questions are centering around fundraising. So some people might have a program already. Some people are just getting started with a program, but a lot of questions were centered around how do you fundraise for this particular program? How do you make it sustainable? And also, do the human services organizations help support with fundraising and providing grants?
So just up front, I don't know the full details, so I'll say as much as I do know. But I can find out those answers for people afterwards. We, ACC, we have a grant that helps cover Sharmila's salary. And then we also have some other programs, other community programs, such as our community pets program that does our vaccine clinics, food pantries, and all of that type of stuff. So honestly, it's just kind of internally, we just pull our internal resources and lean on each other. If Sharmila has a client who needs their rabies vaccine in order to have their ESA in shelter, we'll reach out to our vaccine clinic team, get them connected. And so like that's how we go about it internally. We don't have outside funding necessarily specifically for the individual services for the special case program, but more of our own internal departments.
And thank you for offering to put, like, as Sheila mentioned in the comments, there'll be more in the Maddie's pet forum too.
Absolutely.
It's tough. The fundraising one is tough. It's always
fundraising is tough. Like
Yeah.
I have so much respect for our fundraiser and grants team. Like the things that they do, I give them what they need. They work their magic. So
They're a special breed of people. I will tell you, they are so good at what they do. Another question that we had is, how do you collect information but also like demographics and stuff, but also respecting people's privacy?
yeah, so we at ACC for our shelter system, we use the Shelter Buddy computer system for all of our data keeping. But for special cases, we honestly, it started as a Google thing, and now it turned into, I don't know if folks are aware of Airtable, but we pull data from the same information that we need for our Shelter Buddy data collection. We just use the exact same. We're not asking any more or any less than what we need in order to make a profile of that person and animal in our system already. All of the information we collect is confidential, and if anything needs to be shared, honestly, I'm trying to think. I can only think of one, maybe two instances that this has happened, where we've had to divulge confidential information. But we have a very strict, we keep it in line. Everything goes through our general counsel, we make sure everybody is, it's all legally backed up. And even if we're not sure, even if it's not like a sensitive thing, we always err on the side of never divulging anything unless we have the express permission of that client or, of course, through the legal channels.
Okay, I had one more question, just because I think it'd be good to have it on the call. Sorry, Sheila, I know we're at time, but this is, I'm being selfish because this is a personal question, but I think it's really important. We're human beings. We all can judge, right? What is something you tell yourself mentally if you feel judgment creeping up in your head?
Yeah, and honestly, I'll say this is a conversation that I have with everyone on my team multiple times a month of just kind of recenter ourselves. Because yeah, like you said, we're all human. Things happen. We're not robots. I think the biggest thing that for me personally, I just remind myself of going back to like, you don't know this person's full story. You don't know their background. And it's so cliche. I really don't like this saying, but it's so the cliche of like put yourself in their shoes. Like when you actually take a moment to think about that and try to put yourself in their shoes, at least for me personally, it brings you back to earth real quick. And like it is hard. It is hard work that like Sharmila is having like these conversations with clients day in and day out. It does take a toll on you, and that could lead to judgment, burnout, whatever it may be. But it's those little those little wins every once in a while when a client like reaches back out, just a quick thank you, or we recently, one of our very first cases, I want to say it was like the first 4 months of this program, we helped this family. A year and a half later, the whole family is now ACC volunteers. They just came back to give their time there. So it's like, those little things, those are the things that bring you back and like, I think help squash that. But Sharmila, I don't know if you have anything to add to.
Yeah, look, I'm proud of, being part of the team. I love my job. I work from home, so I'm able to take breaks and take my Bruno for a walk. He's a corgi mix. You heard him barking. So I'm grateful, and the thing about this job is I have to approach as non-judgmental. These clients have been through so much, and if I really want to be successful in my counseling, strategies, I must know that, they will confide in me eventually, and the real story will come out, even if I get a call from another agency and their perception of that person. I have to advocate for the client. So when it comes down to it is I have to trust my instincts that, the client will eventually be honest with me. And it's not easy because a lot of my clients suffers from that untreated mental health condition. And, that plays a big role. But that eventually comes out later.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Jillian. Thank you, Sharmila. Thank you, Jaime. This conversation is amazing. We'll continue it, of course. And we appreciate you guys, everybody in the audience, for being here and listening in.
Yes, thank you all so much. That was a really thoughtful panel, and I know we'll continue the conversation. We had a lot of really wonderful questions in the chat, so please meet us on Maddie's Pet Forum. Our panels will be there throughout the week to answer any questions and just continue the conversation. And we would love to see you all on Maddie's Pet Forum with our question of the day. What's one idea from today that you can take back and apply right away? So go ahead and let us know on Maddie's Pet Forum. And thank you so much, Janel, for co-hosting with me. I can't wait to continue again with you next week. We have Jenna Topper joining us from Front Street's Homeless Outreach and Assistance Program, and we will be having a presentation titled Meeting Pets and People Where They Are, Practicing Trauma-Informed Outreach in Sacramento's Unhoused Community. So that'll be another great conversation. If anyone here is interested in hosting or speaking, or if you have speakers you would like to hear from, please join us on Maddie's Pet Forum on our suggestions page. We would love to hear what would make this community great for you. And thanks for everyone continuing the conversation with us on Maddie's Pet Forum. Thank you everyone for joining today. And especially thanks to Henry and Bruno.
Thank you for having us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.